All right. So somebody brought up Kobe Bryant. So I think it's kind of fitting to go there. I like this topic with Kobe Bryant because I seen some things. I mean, it was Matt Barnes that was on. I want to say Gilbert Arenas came on All the Smoke, and they had this conversation. I like what Matt Barnes said about it. Watching Ball Don't Stop. I love that podcast. So shout out to the guys over there at Ball Don't Stop. He does a really good interview with Will Barton. I think he's a regular on that show. And Will Barton, he speaks very, very clearly about what do you think about the whole conversation. I like what Will Barton had to say as well. But I want to start with Chris Duhon, who played with Kobe. And I don't know how old this interview is. He was on someone's podcast. I think these are just a regular YouTuber. He was asked about something about Kobe Bryant, and he told an interesting story surrounding triple doubles. And y'all know how much I don't despise triple doubles, but I despise the fact that we celebrate triple doubles like it's some type of championship ring or something like that. Like if you like, I just want you to take a step back, close your eyes, and think about how the NBA circle and the NBA media and the NBA fans view and talk about triple doubles. Like, if a player gets a triple double, I want you to hear how hyped it is and tell me what else is hyped that much outside of a championship ring. What is hype on the level of a triple double other than championship ring? Championship ring, that's the end all be all, right? Triple doubles, triple doubles is getting people MVPs. Like triple doubles is so overhyped that it means that if you can average one, you must be the MVP of the league. If you average one, that will settle for you almost averaging one. Give them the MVP. Westbrook averaged one, got MVP, but then it was like, well, it's really easy for him to average a triple double. So if we give him MVP every time he get it, that ain't gonna be right. So he averaged another triple double the next year and didn't get MVP. Go figure. So they hyped it, and then they thought about it and was like, it's not really that impressive. Until Jokic started getting it, and it was like, oh, it's impressive again. And triple double automatically means MVP. And Jokic hasn't even averaged a triple double yet. He almost averaged one. And that was like, well, for you to be a center and get 9 assists, that's impressive. So you don't actually have to average the triple double, but you're close, and that means you're the MVP, right? So I want y'all to hear how Chris Duhon talked about the MVP, not the MVP, but triple doubles as it pertains to Kobe Bryant.
And we're on the road. We played in Staples the next day. It was a back-to-back. And, when you get on the plane, like, you could get the sheets from, all the scores and stats from everyone that's played throughout that on that day. Yeah. So you get the stat sheets, and we're going through it. And I was sitting next to him at the time, and it was like, oh, LeBron gets another triple double. Like, LeBron had a triple double. And he's like, oh, LeBron got a triple double. And I was like, shit, you ain't gonna never get one of them because your ass don't pass. And he starts laughing. And he was like, all right, I bet you $5,000 I get a triple double the next game.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, all right, bet it. And sure enough, I think he was 1 assist and 1 rebound shy at halftime. And like, but every time he was doing it, he was just looking at me and just winking. And we talked after the game. He was just like, and it just goes to what his mindset was. He was just like, if I wanted to, I can get a triple double every game. He was like, but my team needs me to score. Like, I want to take the hearts out of anyone that's guarding me and the other team knowing that they can't stop me. And that's just, like they said, the mama mentality. That just was his mentality. Like, he just wanted to go out, compete at the highest level, and make sure that that he was the best player on the court at all times.
So here's the mindset. and this is coming from a former teammate, Chris Duhon. He said he teased him about LeBron getting another triple-double, and Kobe kind of like laughed at it like, dude, put $5,000 on. I bet you I get a triple-double next game. Like, so he's in his mind. And I always tell people this. I think the top 10 players, especially if they handle the ball, right? It'll probably be harder for a post player like Tim Duncan or something like that. I mean, because he's not going to be put in a lot of positions where, he's running the fast break. That that's on the fast break, you get at least 4 of your assists a game. Running the break. So you might get 3 or 4 assists that way. I mean, of course, big men in the post passing out of the post to a shooter that can lead to open shot and an assist. But a lot of times, if you're playing a good team, the rotation should be there. So the person passing out of the post most times don't get the assist. They get the hockey assist, right? The person they pass it to have to make that extra pass to get that open shot sometimes, right? So, so a post player, outside of a post player, if you play point forward, point guard, point center, whatever the case may be, if you're playing on the wing and you get the ball a lot, and you get to make decisions, you can accumulate a lot of assists, right? And if you're the best player on the team, you're gonna score 10 points at least a game because you're going to get the opportunity to score that many points. You're going to get 20 to 30 shots a game. So you can already book it for your best player. If they are a wing player that handles the ball, you can already book them for close to a double-double with points and assists, especially if your best player is a point guard or point forward or point center. Point guard was Westbrook. He always flirted with a triple-double. He averaged a triple-double 3 times. Point guard is LeBron, or point forward is LeBron. He's always flirted with a triple-double. Luka's always flirted with a triple-double. He's the point guard of the point forward. Harden played point guard for years, always flirted with a triple-double. And Jokic is a point center, always flirted with a triple-double. Everybody who flirts with a triple-double has that in common, or have that in common. They're going to be the decision makers on offense. They're going to handle the ball as a point guard, point forward, point center. There's your 9 assists. There's your 10 assists. If you're the best player, there's your 30 shots a game. So you should be able to get 10 points out of 30 shots. Lock them in for a double-double. Now, as far as the rebounds, are the rebounds impressive? Like, have anybody actually seen players grab rebounds in this era of basketball and was impressed like the rebounds that Dennis Rodman used to battle Karl Malone for, or the rebounds Dennis Rodman used to battle Shaq for? Luka gets 8 to 10 rebounds a game. Have you seen Luka rebounds and say, oh my God, if I had to pick someone to battle Dennis Rodman down low for a rebound, it would be Luka Doncic? Have anybody ever said that? Have anybody ever sat down and was like, man, Luka can rebound? That's a great rebounder. Who's your top 10 rebounders in the league? Oh, Luka for sure. Has anybody ever said that? Have anybody ever said this man is a beast he's the round mound of rebound like Charles Barkley? I'm impressed by the rebounds that Shaq grabbed. I'm impressed by Hakeem Olajuwon's rebounds. I'm impressed by Dale Davis rebounds. I'm impressed by Dennis Rodman rebounds. Antonio McDyess, Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber. I'm impressed by those rebounds. Charles Barkley, Moses Malone. Hell, even Jokic is a great rebounder. I'm impressed by those rebounds. I'm not impressed by a era of basketball where all 5 men on offense are standing at the 3-point line and someone is taking a 3-point shot without any dribble penetration, without their feet touching the paint. They come down either 0 passes or 1 pass, and a 3-point shot goes up, and the rebound falls in Luka's hands. And when he get 10 of those, he just happened to get a triple-double. We know he's going to get the points. We know he's going to get the assist because he's the point guard, and he don't pass the ball until he gets an assist. So we know he's going to get the assist. So the only other thing that's left in that equation of a triple-double is the rebounds. And I'm not impressed by his assists or his rebounds or his points. You're taking 20 to 30 shots a game. Of course, you're going to get 10 plus points. You're the only person authorized to pass the ball for an assist. Of course, you're going to get 10 assists, and you don't defend the best player or the second best player or the third best player or anybody who handles the ball that can dribble penetration. We're hiding you on defense, and we're putting you in the corner, and the rebounds are getting long threes and falling outside the paint in your hand. You get 10 of those, and you want me to be impressed when I look at the stat sheet and see a triple-double? No, I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. So I'm not impressed by the triple-doubles, and I'm glad that Chris Duhon mentioned that Kobe Bryant was like, hey, on demand, if I wanted to get a triple-double, all I got to do is change the way I play. Instead of me going out in killer mode, which is what he said. He said, well, my team, the way I'm operating, I take your heart out by showing you cannot stop me from scoring. Point blank, period. That my job every night is to come out and wreak havoc and cause problems. How are we going to stop this man from scoring? If we don't keep him somewhat under wraps, he's going to go for 40 or 50 any given night. And then if you talk to him, he might go for 60. That was his plan. That was his goal. That's how he approached the game. And then on the other end, he came down and he defended. He didn't hide on defense. There's no scheme to say, we got to find a way where we got to get Kobe off the ball. We cannot allow him to guard anybody who can dribble penetrate. We cannot allow him to chase Reggie Miller around these screens because he's not conditioned. I just want you to think about this. Luka Doncic is the so-called best player in the league. And on defense, he's not conditioned enough to chase Steph Curry around screens or Klay Thompson. So we can't let him guard a player that's moving that much. He's not quick enough, fast enough, swift foot enough to stay with a point guard, even though he plays point guard. So we can't let him guard the ball. So I can't guard the ball because I can't stop dribble penetration. And I can't guard the off ball player that's running off screens because I'm not conditioned. And I can't guard a really good post player. So what is left? Whoever the weakest link on offense is that's going to stand in the corner, that's who you're going to guard. And this is supposed to be the best player. And then here we got Kobe Bryant that's putting up just as much points, if not more. And also coming down here and saying, I don't care if your best player is a ball handler who dribble penetrates, or your best player is a shooter that runs off screens, or your best player is a Carmelo Anthony that gets in the post. I'm guarding whoever the best player is, unless I'm undersized and I can't guard him. But we're not talking about Luka. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, right? So that was Kobe Bryant and Chris Duhon talking about triple doubles. All right. Then Will Barton was asked, why do you think everyone that like played the game recognized Kobe Bryant as being better and a better player than LeBron James? This is what he said.
I feel the three greatest players.
You know, you saw prime LeBron, you saw right at the end of prime Kobe. Why do players still to this day that played against both choose Kobe over LeBron?
I think with me it's just, you know, what Kobe stood for, represented as a basketball player, right? Obviously, you know, you got the 5 championships. And I think what the players respect most about it is we feel like he took the harder route to get his championships, man. The 2 without Shaq. But they hold a lot of weight when you go to 3 straight finals without Shaq and win 2 of them and go back to back. And you know, he didn't get a super team. You know, his second best player was Pau Gasol, you know, who's a great, all-time great, never disrespect Pau Gasol. But I don't think at the time when Kobe got him, we didn't look at him how we look at him now. And when you look at LeBron on his championship teams that won, you know, he had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and then come back and win with Kyrie and Love, and then another one with AD, who are AD, Kyrie, D Wade are, up there in that top 50, yeah, top 75 type talents and players.
So he said, man, why y'all respect Kobe so much? Why y'all keep putting him over LeBron? He said, well, first of all, we all as players recognize that we seen Kobe take the hard route. Yeah, when he got drafted to LA, Shaq was already there. But he knew that the narrative was going to be, oh man, he's Shaq's sidekick. So he wanted to show the world that he was just not a Scottie Pippen. He was not a sidekick, that he was on a Michael Jordan level, or at least close. So yeah, I accept the challenge of playing without Shaq. As a matter of fact, when you hear him in his his not press conferences, but his interviews talking about that summer of free agency that he actually was looking at houses in Chicago and he was ready to leave LA because he knew it was going to be a situation where the Lakers had to choose between him and Shaq. And he thinking, look, man, I just leave. Y'all ain't got to choose. So I think Chicago was one of the places. I can't remember. I can't remember if Philly was in the mix, but he was ready to go. I'm about to start my legacy, after Shaq, and I'm about to show y'all what I can do without him. But Jerry West swooped in and was like, nah, we picking the young guy. We see what Kobe Bryant is made out of. We letting Shaq go. So Shaq goes to Miami, and the Kobe era without Shaq starts in LA. Right? And he had a couple of struggle years, and then they finally got him a sidekick. Like I said, you can start judging a player, especially if you're going to compare them to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't win anything until they found him a suitable co-star that was all-star level or something close to all-star level, right? You give me a co-star that's a good player. Star, superstar, all-star, whatever the case may be, give me a co-star. And then let us build around me and my co-star, right? So that clock start, right? When you don't have a legitimate co-star on a Scottie Pippen level, right, or above or just below it, like you need one of those. That clock starts when you get your Scottie Pippen. And Kobe Bryant, when Shaq left, didn't have a Scottie Pippen. He had Smush Parker, he had Luke Walton. He had players like that of that nature, and then he finally got his Scottie Pippen and Pau Gasol. Not a top 75 player, not a top 50 player, but at his position at power forward, he probably was 100% a top 10 player at his position, and arguably a top 5 player at his position. I mean, you had Duncan, of course, at power forward. You had Garnett at power forward. I think Webber was already out of the league by the time. Yeah, Webber was already done, and his ACL was gunning, so Webber wasn't there. I would say Rasheed would be the third. I would say Dirk would be the third. Rasheed, Pau Gasol, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh. Those guys is a toss-up who you think round off that top 4, top 5. But after Duncan, Dirk, KG, after those 3, those are for sure the ones ahead of Pau. Kobe didn't get a Garnett. Kobe didn't get a Duncan. Kobe didn't get a Dirk. Kobe got Pau. Pau is on Chris Bosh's level. Pau and Chris Bosh are on the same level. Pau was Kobe Bryant's co-star. Chris Bosh was a role player for LeBron. Wade was his co-star. Wade was LeBron's co-star. Chris Bosh, who's on the level of Pau, was LeBron's role player. Kevin Love, who's on the level of Bosh and Pau, was LeBron's role player. His co-star was Kyrie. And you heard what Will Barton said. He said Wade, AD, AD and Kyrie Irving, those are top 75 type players. Even though they screwed Kyrie out and didn't select him for it, we know without a doubt that he's a top 75 player. Without a doubt, we know that. Forget all the politics. He's a top 75 player, right? But those was his co-stars. So not only did he get a co-star on a Pippen level, he got a role player on a Pippen level, right? Kobe only had Powell. Michael Jordan only had Pippen. But nonetheless, the clock started for Kobe when he got Powell. And when he got Powell, he went championship. Finals loss, championship. So he went to 3 straight finals, lost the first to Boston, who was a super team. The first super team of this era was the Boston Celtics Big Three. KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, 3 superstars. Toward the end of their prime, but still in their prime. Kobe went in there being the lone superstar on the Lakers, with his co-star being would you call Powell a French all-star? He was an all-star. Not a top 75, not a superstar, not a top 5 player in the league, probably not a top 10 player in the league. He was barely top 5 at his position. That's different. Because when Wade was in his prime, he was not barely a top 5 player at his position. He was number 2 behind Kobe in shooting guards, and it wasn't close. Maybe Brandon Roy could have an argument. Brandon Roy might have been on Wade's level, maybe. But there was no doubt that Wade was a top 2, top 3 player at his position, and definitely top 10 overall in the league. Definitely. Right. So there's no doubt that he had his superstar player. LeBron didn't have just a Scottie Pippen. He had another LeBron level player in Wade. Right. So I thought that was interesting by Will Barton. Then Matt Barnes had something to say about it.
I feel the 3 greatest players of all time are MJ, Kobe, and Bron. So to me, you can throw any of those 3 up, and however you slot them, I don't have an issue with it. It's weird that I feel like outside the non-athlete media always kind of leaves Kobe out of the top 5 or sometimes the top 10, and it's crazy because the guys that played with him or against him understand what he was about, understand that drive and that killer he had. But again, to me, that's not knocking because I think Kobe is ahead of Bron. That doesn't mean I dislike Bron. I think Bron is fucking incredible. And for him to still be doing what he's done and the doors he's opened, and got his son on the team, and he's going to be the owner of the Vegas franchise when that shit happens. Like, he's done shit that we normally don't get opportunities to do. So I think as far as on and off the court, I think Bron is probably the all-time GOAT. But I just think when it comes to basketball, I think it's MJ, Kobe, and then Bron is a respectful third.
Matt Barnes. I mean, but that's the nice way to put it. I don't understand why people think they have to put LeBron in the top 3. I don't think he's top 3. I really don't. I don't think Kobe's number 2. I think Kobe's the second best player I've seen play the game. But when you add in achievements, resume, and all that stuff, I think the career of Kareem exceeds the career of Kobe Bryant. And he was a good enough player to where you actually put that together, a career. I mean, we talking about high school, winning at that level, winning at the college level. And I'm not just talking about, we won once. I'm talking about like dominating, winning 2-3 times, right? And then winning 6 times in the league. I mean, it's just like his career was unreal. He had the scoring record for so long that says something. So I think Kareem easily has that number 2 for me, and I think Kobe Bryant number 3 sits well for me. As far as LeBron James, the debate starts after Kobe, right? So Mike, Kareem, Kobe, then the debate's got to start at number 4, and it's a lot of people you got to debate. LeBron just can't have number 4. He's got to you've got to prove why he's number 4. Right? You got Tim Duncan, you got Wilt, you got Russell, you got LeBron, you got Hakeem, It's a lot of guys right there. You got Bird and Magic. Right? It's a lot of guys for that number 4 where that conversation has to be a real conversation and a real debate. You just can't give it to LeBron because you like the way he walked. You just can't give it to LeBron because he manipulated his career and made sure that he was going to get the scoring record. And because he played 1,000 years to make sure that he can accumulate stats. Because he played a style of offense that made sure that no one was going to outstat him on his team. I'm going to get the assists. I'm going to get the shots up and get the points. And oh, by the way, I get the lollygag on defense because I'm doing so much on offense that these rebounds just go fall in my hand just like I'm Luka. Hot rebounds coming off the rim, falling in his lap like cappuccino. And that's what that's what his career is a stat, is a, you know, he won all the credit for stats. When they don't play the game for stats, they play the game for rings. So when you measure a player, you measure them by what everyone is competing for. If we all got on the court and was competing for stats, then I would use stats as a metric to find out which player is better. But they're all on the floor competing for rings and wins. Like if you watch a game right now and you stop the game in the middle of the game and grab one player from one team and another player from the other team, bring them in the half court and say, hey, why are y'all on the floor fighting and competing? What are y'all trying to get? They're both going to say, we're trying to get a win. When you throw that ball up in the middle of the court and for jump ball, everyone has the same goal. We're trying to win. So everything that you do as far as how you judge players and judge teams, you judge it by winning first. It'd be different if all of them showed up to the arena and said, we're competing to see who can get the most stats. We're competing to see who can get the most triple doubles. How do you hold something so insignificant so high? Which player is better? Well, which one has the most stats? That's not how it works. Which player is better? They're all competing to win. Who won the most? That got to count for something. It counts for something. So you got to keep that in mind.